Good evening. I'm Jennifer Meckles.
I'm Alexandra Lewis. Welcome in. Tomorrow marks 2 years since a student opened fire on 2 staff members at East High School.
Tonight, one of those shooting survivors is suing Denver Public Schools, claiming the district failed to keep him safe. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez joins us live tonight with details on this. Colton?
Well, in 2023, former Dean Wayne Mason was shot multiple times by a student who was supposed to be getting patted down and screened every day before school as part of a public safety measure. Now, in the lawsuit, they call it an avoidable act of violence and something that never should have happened.
Anyone who claims that a school shooting is no longer reasonably foreseeable has their head in the sand.
In 2023, a 17-year-old student at East High shot Wayne Mason and Eric Sinclair, both deans at the time. They survived. A new lawsuit Wayne filed says the shooting could have been prevented. It points out the shooter was expelled from another school for trying to sell a gun, and says when he enrolled at East High 2 months before the shooting, DPS put him on a safety plan. As part of that plan, he had to undergo verbal check-ins before school every day. According to the lawsuit, that was changed to mandatory searches days before the shooting because he was spotted with a gun.
Up until 2015, school districts were essentially immune from suit, no matter what lack of reasonable care they exercised.
In 2015, Colorado passed the Claire Davis School Safety Act, requiring school districts to protect students and staff from reasonably foreseeable violence like school shootings. 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson explains.
But you have to show a failure to exercise reasonable care for a danger that was reasonably foreseeable under the circumstances of this particular case.
In this case, the lawsuit argues that Denver Public Schools did not provide administrators with adequate training on how to search and pat down students.
But the failure to conduct adequate searches is a pretty substantial basis for the claim.
In a statement, Mason's lawyer says the lawsuit will make everyone safer by holding school officials accountable. Robinson hopes the Claire Davis School Safety Act will help schools prevent future acts of violence.
Now schools are locking the doors, number one. You have to check in, number two. And number three, they do training.
Tonight, we did reach out to Denver Public Schools, and they told us they do not comment on pending litigation. Live in Denver tonight, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
It was a nice end to the week across the metro area. Look at this beautiful sunset. But this weekend, seasons will collide a bit. We're expecting fire danger in some areas, including along the I-25 corridor and the plains. Meanwhile, in the mountains, the snow is arriving tonight. So this is a live look from Steamboat. You see some snow on the ground there. The high country could see between 5 inches and a foot, with the heaviest expected tomorrow morning.
And if they're getting snow, Corey, they're getting champagne powder up there, probably, right?
Yeah, they're still getting the quality, really dry snow up there in Steamboat for sure. That's why they put a patent on that baby. They're still getting some good stuff up there. They'll probably see a good 5 or 6 inches up there on the hill over the next 24 hours. This was today. This for March 21st, which happened to be the first full day of spring. If you go by the equinox, which was yesterday, not bad, but just a couple of degrees here cooler than normal for this time of year, as all these temperatures reported into us across the day today. We're dropping down to about the upper 20s, low 30s here as we go through the night tonight here. So a relatively normal start to the day tomorrow. Here's the day. We'll see quite a bit of sunshine mixed in with some clouds, getting the temperatures up there. Wind will be the most noticeable thing here across the Front Range tomorrow, and that's going to help elevate the fire danger with some fire weather. We'll talk about that in the forecast, as well as the mountain snow that's coming the next 24 hours and a nice warming trend coming to the middle of the week. That's next.
We're following some sad developing news. Boxing legend George Foreman has died. His family made that announcement about an hour ago on social media. Foreman was a 2-time heavyweight champion, participating in some of the most important boxing events of all time. Back in 1974, Foreman faced Muhammad Ali in one of the most memorable boxing matches, the Rumble in the Jungle. He was also known for his iconic grill business. In a post to social media tonight, his family said he died peacefully, surrounded by his loved ones. Foreman was 76 years old.
Two big stars in the progressive left movement drew big crowds in Colorado today.
After hosting a rally at UNC in Greeley, Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez moved on to Civic Center Park in Denver. And that's where we find 9 News reporter Ria Jha. Ria, the crowd was certainly energized tonight.
Yeah, people started showing up 3 hours in advance. A line just to get in wrapped around the entire block of Civic Center Park. And we spoke to people while they were showing up about why they came. And they said they were fed up with the current administration and that they needed to hear a message like this. In front of this crowd, these two didn't need any introduction.
In the hundreds of rallies that I have done, we have never, ever had a rally as large as this.
Thousands of people flooded the Civic Center to see Independent Senator Bernie Sanders and Democratic Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, drawn by a sense of urgency, fear, and frustration.
Well, the reason I'm here is I don't like the way this country is going right now.
Even before they spoke, the crowd knew what they were hoping to hear: accountability for the issues they care about.
I'm actually a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and I have so many patients who have Medicaid or Medicare. I'm afraid for the country.
On stage, AOC wasted no time challenging not only Republicans, but her own party.
And this isn't just about Republicans. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us, too.
Neither Sanders nor AOC spoke directly to Denver-specific issues like immigration enforcement in the city or the rising cost of living, instead focusing on national themes like raising the minimum wage and taking on billionaires.
We will not allow America to become an oligarchy. This nation was built by working people. And we're not going to let a handful of billionaires run the government.
Both leaders finishing off with a reminder to the people: the power is with them.
No, it's not Bernie. Not Bernie. I got bad news for you. It's you.
I want you to look at every level of office around you and support Democrats who actually fight, because those are the ones that can win against Republicans. We are going to get through this.
It was one of many stops across the West this week, and tomorrow they will be in Tucson, Arizona. Reporting live in Denver, Ria Jha, 9 News.
A federal judge is ordering a school district in Elbert County to put more than a dozen books back on library shelves and warning conservative school leaders against removing more books they disagree with. Last August, the Elizabeth School Board announced it would pull 19 books from school library shelves, and about 100 more would go on a sensitive books list. They include books mentioning the LGBTQ community, any religious views, drug use, profanity, or sexual content. A high schooler sued with the help of the ACLU, the NAACP, and the Authors Guild. They argued the book removals were unconstitutional censorship. This week, a judge ordered the district to return those books to the libraries by next week, at least while the case continues in court. The district has argued the removals aren't a ban and came after a thorough review by school staff and district parents. They do plan to appeal.
Nearly 2,600 incarcerated Coloradans voted in the last presidential election. Secretary of State's office is sharing those numbers today. This was the first general election since a state law took effect requiring that jails hold at least one in-person voting day. Now, important to point out, inmates who are serving time for felony convictions, they are not allowed to cast a ballot. However, it is legal now for people who are awaiting trial or serving time for misdemeanors to vote. The Secretary of State's office says nearly half of the eligible inmates at that time turned in a ballot. Today, the Trump administration has ended a contract that provided legal help to migrant children entering the country without a parent or a guardian. The Acacia Center for Justice contracts with the government to provide legal services to unaccompanied migrant children under age 18. The center said they were informed today the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services was terminating nearly all the legal work it does. That includes paying for lawyers for roughly 26,000 kids when they go to immigration court.
A federal judge says a prominent immigration advocate in Colorado who was detained by ICE this week cannot be deported right now. That judge issued an order today halting the deportation of Jeanette Vizqueta until her case can be heard. ICE detained Jeanette on Monday outside the Denver area Target where she works. The mother of 4 has been fighting deportation since 2009 when she was pulled over during a traffic stop. Since then, the 53-year-old has been convicted of misdemeanors for entering the country without permission and for forged documents. Oral arguments in her case have been set for March 28th, which is 1 week from today.
One of 2 men who escaped from the ICE detention facility in Aurora during a power outage on Tuesday is now back in custody tonight. ICE says the Adams County Sheriff's Office helped them find and arrest 32-year-old Joel Gonzalez this morning. But today at a hearing, a public defender claimed that Gonzalez actually called authorities himself, turning himself in, wanting to give up information on the other escapee, hoping it would help get him out of trouble. ICE is still searching for Vito Romero Guillaud Jose. They say that the 24-year-old also escaped after the power went out. The men walked through unlocked doors, climbed a fence, and ultimately escaped that facility. The man who shot 4 people at the Nuggets championship parade back in 2023 is now headed to prison. A judge sentenced him to 35 years today. Ricardo Vasquez opened fire near 20th and Market Street shortly after the Nuggets' first NBA championship. He pleaded guilty in January to an attempted murder and drug charge. Court documents say Vasquez and another man fought during that parade. They both pulled out guns. Vasquez was shot in the hip and then shot into a crowd of people. He claimed he acted in self-defense. As part of his sentence, Vasquez was ordered to pay more than $18,000 to the victims. He also got 5 years of parole.
New tonight, a popular Denver brewery is closing one of its locations. Flightco Brewing is shutting down its brewery in the Berkeley neighborhood next month. It says it will move everything over to its Central Park brewery, the one in the old Stapleton Air Traffic Control Tower. Flightco opened its Berkeley location 6 years ago. Just a few months ago, they started offering up like a co-working space. According to the Denver Business Journal, that option did not work and it will not be available at the Central Park brewery. The last day the Berkeley location will serve up beers is April 5th. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
How about a live look from Seattle tonight? The CSU men's basketball team, they'll be staying in Washington at least 2 more nights after a big win in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Back here at home, a very exciting afternoon for CSU fans when the Rams won their first March Madness game of the tournament. The team, of course, playing in Seattle, but fans back here at home packed into Lucky Joe's Saloon in Fort Collins. One family, well, probably lots of families, but this particular family let their kids play hooky from school because it was such a big day for their family and for the team.
My husband and I both graduated over a decade ago, so yeah, the kids are really into it too.
Fans and the players will get this short break. Rams play 4th-seeded Maryland in their game on Sunday.